morning. It is Friday, July 24th, 2015. This is your morning edition on I-24 News. Coming up today, U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry and Iranian President Hassan Rouhani get grilled by their respective parliaments over the terms of the nuclear accords. Croatia's president is visiting in Israel, and our own Tal Shalev sat down for an in-depth interview with her. And later on the show, we look at the world's biggest bear sanctuary as we round up this week's top environmental news. Good morning, I'm Yael Aviv. Lawmakers in Washington and Tehran took to their respective leaders to task yesterday for signing what they termed as a bad deal. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry faced accusations that he had been fleeced and bamboozled by Iranian negotiators in the final round of the Vienna talks. Kerry, together with other senior administration members, fought back passionately, arguing that the deal achieved what it set out to achieve and that those peddling in alternatives were selling a fantasy. Under a bill President Barack Obama signed into law in May, Congress has until September 17th to approve or reject the agreement. If a disapproval resolution passes Congress and survives a veto, Obama would be unable to waive most of the United States sanctions imposed on Iran, which could threaten the nuclear pact. In Tehran, lawmakers have given themselves at least 60 days, people say it will take approximately 80, to review and approve the deal, though chances of it falling there are somewhat slimmer, as the deal has ostensibly been approved by the supreme leader. That did not stop the reformist president from coming under attack by regime hardliners who said the agreement threatened Iran's security. Meanwhile, President Obama continues what appears to be a world campaign in promotion of the deal, using both sticks and carrots, and in an interview with the BBC had the following to say yesterday.
For our Gulf allies, for our European allies. Second, it is true that by definition, in a negotiation and a deal like this, Iran gets something out of it. The sanctions regime that we put in place with the help of the Brits, but also the Chinese and the Russians and others, meant that they had funds that were frozen. They get those funds back. A large portion of those funds are going to have to be used for them to rebuild their economy. That was the mandate that elected Rouhani, and the Supreme Leader is feeling pressure there. Does the IRGC or the Quds Force have more resources? Probably, as the economy in Iran improves. But the challenge that we've had when it comes to Hezbollah, for example, aiming rockets into Israel, is not a shortage of resources. Iran's shown itself to be willing, even in the midst of real hardship, to fund what they consider to be strategic priorities. The challenge is us making sure that we've got the interdiction capacity, the intelligence, that we are building a much stronger defense against some of these proxy wars and asymmetric efforts. And we've sent a clear message to the Iranians. We are settling the Iran deal, but we still have a big account that we're going to have to work. Hopefully some of it diplomatically, if necessary, some of it militarily.
And you've had Joining me in studio is former Israeli Consul General in Los Angeles, Jacob Dayan. Good morning to you.
Good morning, yeah.
Wonderful to have you. I-24 News diplomatic correspondent Tal Shalev. Good morning to you. Now, before we break this down, yesterday, the grilling, I want to take us back to what happened in the Senate, and where John Kerry basically was really under the gun. Let's have a listen to a few things the Secretary of State replied to yesterday.
From my perspective, Mr. Secretary, I'm sorry. Not unlike a hotel guest that leaves only with a hotel bathrobe on his back, I believe you've been fleeced. In the process of being fleeced, what you've really done here is you have turned Iran from being a pariah to now Congress being a pariah.
Secretary Kerry, I do not fault you for trying to engage in diplomacy and striking a deal with Iran. I don't. I do fault the President for striking a terrible deal with Iran. I hope enough of my Democratic colleagues can be persuaded to vote against this deal and prevent the President from executing it. But even if this deal narrowly avoids congressional defeat, because we can't get to that veto-proof majority, the Iranian regime and the world should know that this deal is your deal with Iran. I mean yours, meaning this administration. And the next president is under no legal or moral obligation to live up to it.
But the fact is that Iran now has, we all don't like it,
Whether we like it or not, Iran has developed experience with a nuclear fuel cycle. They have developed the ability to produce the fissile material for bomb. And we can't bomb that knowledge away. The 2 uranium pathways, the 1 plutonium pathway, and the covert pathway. So this isn't a question of giving them what they want. I mean, it's a question of how do you hold their program back? How do you dismantle their weapons program, not their whole program? Let's understand what was really on the table here.
Joining us from the States is Times of Israel correspondent Rebecca Shimoni Stoll, I believe, out of San Francisco. Rebecca, good morning to you. Listen, first of all, we were just discussing here in studio, there was truly the best show in town yesterday, those Senate hearings. Be it the passionate, vehement, defending of the Secretary of State, John Kerry. When we're looking at this battle, these hearings, people looking at them, and it seems that, the line of the Democratic Party is selling. Would you say it is?
Well, I think, first of all, many of those watching the hearing yesterday, especially the open door hearing that was televised, are aware that what we're seeing is as much theater as it is an effective question and answer.
Right.
And so I think that this is not necessarily going to be largely convincing, drawing people over to one side if they have pre-inclinations toward the other side already. That said, it does seem like the administration is managing to convince enough Democrats in the Senate that they have a decent argument in order to ward off perhaps the strongest doubts that we might have seen among Democrats. That's not saying everybody. I mean, certainly Senator Menendez was very harsh in his critique of the deal and very harsh in his grilling of Kerry. But for the most part, the Democrats do seem to be giving Kerry a fairly easy ride.
And how much do these hearings really hold water when it comes at the end of the day to the vote in Congress?
Well, again, there are quite a few Democrats who have said officially that they still haven't decided, that they're waiting to see what they're going to hear in the hearings. I'm reasonably certain that most of what they're waiting to hear is what happens in the closed-door hearings. And today we got a bit of surprise indication of what some of the contents of those closed-door hearings may or may not be when Senator Menendez slipped, perhaps by accident, some information that may have been said 2 days ago during the closed-door hearings. So if there's going to be any convincing, it's probably going to be in the classified briefings that really get down into the dirty details of what's going on with the deal.
Or what's going on with the deal in that respect. And that said, the administration, as we've seen, obviously pushing very, very strongly ahead. Thank you, Rebecca, joining us this morning. Actually, Ambassador Yaqin, I want to start with you because you're looking at diplomats, people of, of civil service doing the best show in town, indeed. But you said off camera just before we started that the Democrats seem to have one clear line.
The administration has a very simple line, which is it's either war or this deal, which is this specific deal, no alternatives to that. And the Democrats seems to be buying this line. It's very easy, it's a simple line, but it's a selling line. And beside that, I mean, the administration is putting a lot of efforts, a lot of time, and a lot of convincing in making sure that this hearing or this vote in the Congress is going to pass. We are all looking at the process in the Congress, which is there is a first vote, and then the president might veto that, and then they need more votes.
Yeah.
And by the way, we are focusing on the Senate, but the House is a problem as well for the for the Republicans because they need their more than 40 votes as well. And the simple truth is that if the Republicans don't get enough votes in the first round, it would be impossible to get it in the second round. And one of the major problems that the Republicans or the ones who are against this deal have is that I would say the gap or the polarization between the Republicans and the Democrats is so wide today that the Democrats, even though they don't accept the deal, even though they disagree with major things in the agreement, they would vote for the president because all the Republicans are going to vote against that. And then it becomes a political vote as President Obama mentioned, and not per se about the agreement, about the deal.
About the deal itself.
Yes.
Tal Shalev with us, but we're looking now at the long haul, basically, of approximately how long that these wranglings are going to be carried on, and what are the campaigns behind the scenes? Yes,
they're not so much. I wouldn't say it's not so much behind the scenes. Almost everything is out in the open.
Yeah, the powers that be pushing for full frontal.
So basically, we're talking about the big key block here is the 18 Jewish Democrat senators, which are the target of all of these campaigns, and most of these respective campaigns are targeting them. So if we talk about the Republican side of these, backed of course by the Israeli government, we see a multi-million-dollar AIPAC campaign. Next week, hundreds of AIPAC activists are going to raid Capitol Hill to lobby their lawmakers. We're talking about Netanyahu giving statements on a daily basis. Ron Dermer, the Israeli ambassador to the U.S., meeting with congressmen on a daily basis, and the message is don't worry about, is trying to counter the apocalyptic warnings from the White House that if Congress votes against the deal, it would be a catastrophe. The message coming from Dermer to lawmakers was exposed yesterday in an article in Politico, was revealed, and they said the message is don't worry about voting against the deal because it doesn't matter. The U.S. will not let Iran obtain a nuclear weapon nevertheless. On the other hand, we see the administration. We saw President Obama on The Daily Show this week, as we saw just now
on the BBC.
On the BBC, yeah. The White House has a new Twitter account called the Iran Deal, which has been tweeting facts on, I would say, almost 5 minutes, facts about the deal. And yesterday, during the hearing, was actually reacting to what was going on in the hearing, trying to counter the narratives coming out of the lawmakers. We had Kerry and Moniz publish an op-ed in the Washington Post this week, and J Street have been enlisting Israeli security figures or Israeli political figures who support the deal. As we heard yesterday, Kerry actually used one of these generals, two or three of these names of the Israeli generals that support the deal in order to bring some proof that not all of Israel thinks that this is a bad deal. The common assumption is that this is a lost cause, but both the Republicans and Netanyahu have been quoted as saying as the fight is worth it. The fight is worth it. And the main logic, what they're trying to say is that the American economy is so strong that if the American sanctions are not lifted, then businessmen worldwide will have to make the choice between going with the Iranian economy or going with the U.S. economy. It's not clear that will be convincing. That will
be the case. Yaqin, really quickly, as we wrap this item up, as an Israeli diplomat, whatnot, do you think the Israeli strategy of positioning itself with one side of the political spectrum is going to work, or that it's wise?
You know, it's a belief. It's an ideology that the Prime Minister Netanyahu has. So it's not, I think it goes beyond the real politics, which one might disagree or differ with the tactics, but it's not a tactical maneuver. It's an ideological, strategic decision by the government, and so they're going all the way with that. And one thing that Tal mentioned, and you know, Obama made every effort or any effort to make sure that this process in the Congress is irreversible. He went to the Security Council before that. You see already European companies, the Minister of Economy of Germany
has been to Tehran.
So it's becoming irreversible. He really narrowed the function of the Congress, and he's showing them that the process is already moving with them or without them. So it's better to be with the process than to be without this process.
The train has left the station.
Exactly.
I want to thank you both for being with me this morning. Clearly, this is going to be a topic that will be dominating the news over the course of the next 2 months as we move along. And Israel has seen a flurry of diplomatic visits in recent days since the signing of the Iran nuclear deal. The most recent arrival is the president of Croatia, Kolinda Grabar-Kitarović. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Yes, she's a woman. The president, for whom it is the first visit to the country since taking office in February, came to meet with Israeli leaders and to participate in a ceremony at Yad Vashem, in which Croatian filmmaker Branko Lustig presented the Oscar that he won for his work on Schindler's List to the Yad Vashem Holocaust Memorial in perpetuity. But Tal Shalev managed to actually grab the president, sit down with her, and bring this fabulous report back to us.
So, President Grabar-Kitarovic, thank you very much for speaking with us.
Thank you, and hello to all the viewers.
I want to start with your visit here in Israel. You arrive in Israel at a very tense time in the relations between Israel and Europe in the wake of the Iran deal and in the wake of the growing European pressure on the Israeli-Palestinian process. You met with the Israeli Prime Minister. You met with the Israeli President. What did you hear from them, and what did you tell them?
Well, first of all, it is my pleasure to be visiting Israel, no matter what the conditions are. The primary reason for the visit was the ceremony at Yad Vashem, whereby our own Branko Lustig, the producer of the motion picture Schindler's List, presented officially his Oscar to Yad Vashem. However, of course, it was very important for me to meet with the Prime Minister, with the President, with the Speaker of the Knesset, and everybody else to hear the Israeli side also, to hear your views, your opinion on the peace process and on the deal with Iran, and also to encourage Israel to pursue the peace process with the Palestinians. Croatia supports the efforts of the international community to reach a lasting, a comprehensive solution. For that, of course, what we need is the will of both sides, primarily with the good offices of the international community. But I do hope that we will reach a solution. What I've heard from the President and the Prime Minister is their assessment of the situation. And of course, what I will do on my part is talk to my colleagues in the European Union, in NATO and elsewhere to discuss the situation, because we have to be very mindful of what's going in the Middle East. It does affect us all. And of course, we all would like to finally see peace here in Israel and in other parts of the Middle East.
You mentioned the very moving ceremony at the Yad Vashem Holocaust Memorial, but for years there was some kind of a historic resentment in Israel towards Croatia following the actions of the Ustashi government during the war, but also following the comments that have been made by the founding father, the former President Franco Tuđman. I want to ask you, do you still feel this resentment? Do you feel that there is an openness to the new approach that we see in recent years coming from Croatia in the Israeli society?
I don't feel any resentment whatsoever. As a matter of fact, I really am very happy with the friendship that we see between the two countries and between the two peoples. Yes, there was a dark period in our history in World War II that cast a shadow on Croatia's past. However, in addition to the Ustashi regime, which was a collaborationist Nazi regime, there was comparably one of the biggest anti-fascist uprising resistance movements in Croatia, with the bulk of Croats participating, my own family participating in that movement. They were on the partisan side, but later on they resisted communism, for instance. So these people who fought fascism and Nazism put us, Croatia, on the right side of history, because modern Croatia is not a successor to that so-called independent state of Croatia and their ideology. What is embedded in our constitution is our anti-fascist, anti-Nazi roots and the homeland war that we fought back in the 90s in order to liberate Croatia from aggression and occupation.
So I want to say with history, we are just recently, the world marked 20 years to the Srebrenica massacre and also to the Dayton peace accords that followed it. But we still feel ethnic tensions in the Balkans. And we do know that Serbia, for instance, wants to join the European Union. What is your stand on Serbia joining the European Union? And is this something you support in the name of reconciliation and coexistence in the Balkan?
Well, in my speech at Yad Vashem, I said that after World War II, we said never again. And then I saw the war in my own country. I saw how brutal the face of war was. We saw massacres such as Vukovar, the destruction of the entire city of Vukovar. We saw the massacre in Srebrenica, where more than 8,000 people were slaughtered in the course of just a few days. We saw many people being taken at the time to concentration camps, and we thought it would never happen on the European soil again. It just goes to show that we must always remain vigilant, that we cannot take things for granted, not peace, nor the values that we stand for. And we have to continue to uphold them. And that's why we as Croatia, we fully support the membership of Bosnia and Herzegovina, of Serbia, and our other neighbors in the European Union and NATO. Well, Serbia doesn't want to become a member of NATO, but other countries do, because we believe that being part of the same integration processes at the roots of which are peace and security is the best precondition for lasting peace and security in our region.
And being the first woman president of Croatia, but also probably a groundbreaker also in NATO, as you served as the first woman as an assistant to the Secretary General of NATO. How are you accepted in these environments that are very much masculine? How do you feel, how did you succeed to flourish in these kind of very masculine environments?
First of all, I never think of myself as a woman in those environments. Of course, being a female president, I do have a responsibility to fight for the equality of all, including the underrepresented gender, which happen to be women mostly everywhere. But when I enter any competition or when I talk to anyone, I really don't look at them or myself as a woman or a man. I look at everyone based on their human qualities, on their professional qualifications, on their zeal, leadership, etc. And these should be the qualities that we should primarily be judging people on or selecting the best person for the job.
You also have been quoted as saying that you don't define yourself as feminist. So if you're not a feminist, what are you?
I don't define myself as feminist, and I don't mean anything. I don't mean to belittle feminism at all. I don't like to label myself in any way. As I told you earlier, I cook. I love to cook, but I don't consider myself to be a cook. Well, this is perhaps an oversimplification, but why I don't consider myself as feminist? Because of the angle that I'm looking at. As I said, I don't look at myself as a woman in all this. I do hope that it will be encouragement to all women and to all girls to do away with the prejudice that women are not capable for certain jobs. But I fight for the right of every single individual.
President Grabar-Kitarović, thank you very much for speaking with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tal Shalev, I just want to say that it shows that you are enamored with the woman leader.
Yes.
Yes, you
definitely.
are.
It's so rare. It is rare to meet a head of state who is a woman. We don't have many of them. We can count them on our two hands. So it really is fascinating, and to meet her and to watch her and to see, and especially when you consider her background, it's not all, as I mentioned, it's not only that she's the first woman president of Croatia, but she's the first woman who served as as an assistant to the Secretary General of NATO. And that is a very much masculine
a very masculine role.
Environment, yeah. A very masculine role. So definitely a groundbreaker, but interesting to see she doesn't define herself as a feminist at all.
Yes. Well, I think that's the true feminism, but I just said that.
Yes.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Tal, thank you. Time to move to Ami Kaufman, the man, the bow tie, the news you missed while scanning the headlines.
Good morning, Elhari.
Iowa.
U.S. officials are calling this one a game changer. Turkey is going to allow American warplanes to use two Turkish air bases for bombing ISIS in Syria. And this is after a lot of critique that's been put against Turkey for not stopping the flow of foreign fighters that are going into ISIS.
The flow and supposedly also assisting some of the ISIS fighters. That's according to, that has not been proven, but that's
right.
It is a game changer. Last time I think that happened was the operation in Iraq in 2003.
Right.
That Turkey allows American air bases in that country.
And they've been reluctant to do this for a long time.
A very long time.
Even though they're a NATO
Makes me think what's behind this, but yes.
Well, of course, there's the bombing that was in Suruk that killed the 32 activists just a few days ago. I wonder if that put some extra pressure on them.
Most likely.
On to Yemen. There are different reports here about what's going on in Aden, the port about 200 kilometers south of the capital of Sana'a, who is in control of Aden. According to Al Jazeera, Yemen's Houthis have been pushed out by the Saudi-led coalition, as we see in this headline from Al Jazeera. But if we go to the next headline from Press TV, which is the Iranian let's say Aden has not fallen to pro-Haiti militants. And according to a high-ranking member of this movement, Yemen he is dismissing these media reports that Aden has fallen. So
the truth is somewhere in the middle.
Yes,
exactly.
And it's terrifying to see that, you know, where the battle is waged between Iran and Saudi, apropos Yemen. The truth is somewhere in the middle, and journalists can't go in. Or when they go, it's so dangerous.
Very dangerous.
There's no real independent reportage coming out of Yemen.
And very important to remind people that mostly that are civilians that are dying there.
Exactly.
This conflict, and there are almost thousands suffering from famine.
Yes.
Off to Nigeria, more than 50 people have died in 2 suspected Boko Haram suicide attacks. Actually, one of them was in Cameroon. 11 people died there, and 42 in the second attack in Nigeria. There's actually a new development that there's going to be a new 5-nation force from Nigeria, Niger, Chad, Cameroon, and Benin that's going to be deployed by the 30th of July to take on
Boko Haram. How very reminiscent.
Obama on his way to Cameroon also?
I'm not sure about that.
Okay.
You might be right.
No, but it's very reminiscent of the coalition to fight ISIS and Boko Haram on the same on the same level with that you need a country or several countries in coalition. Not that it seems to be working in this case.
And except the world cares less about Africa than it cares about the Middle East.
And a very, very valid point to say.
And it's good that you raised Obama as well, because this is just happening about a week after the Nigerian president met with Obama to talk about how to deal with Boko Haram.
Yeah.
So this is what's happening.
We've got more coalitions. Yes.
Right. Okay, I'm trying not to talk about Donald Trump, but I have to talk again about Donald Trump.
Yes.
I'm very sorry to the viewers.
Please,
okay,
shoot.
The Hill has an exclusive. They interviewed him for about 40 minutes. It was a very interesting thing. But the headline is that Donald Trump is threatening to run as a third party.
He's the new Nader.
He might be the new Nader. Now, this is very frightening for Republicans because this could basically hand the election to the Democrats. Even if Jeb Bush had a chance, this might ruin it for them. All they need, is a few percentage of the vote to really ruin it for them.
So it's basically blackmailing the GOP. Like, if you don't nominate me, I'll run with a different party.
I want to quit.
It's excellent. It's excellent that you bring that. The blackmailing word is good, because how he says they're not treating him fairly. The RNC, the Republicans, are not treating him fairly. And if this doesn't change, blackmailing, if this doesn't change, I will seriously consider running as a third party.
No, apropos blackmailing, I'm sorry, that's terrifying in many ways. But hey, it makes it interesting.
What would you guys have to talk about if
it wasn't for Trump? As we said, we want to quote John Stewart.
Every day he gives us something. I cannot ignore him.
Exactly.
It's media dominance.
No, media dominance. And yes, this would be the headline, Trump possibly independent runner. Ami Kaufman, thank you. I think that would be the highlight of the day. Tal Shalev as well. Do stay with us. When we get back, it's the roundup of the environmental news, because the planet still does exist, and apparently there's also a new one, Earth 2. So stay with us. First, the news. Good morning. It is Friday. Hallelujah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
TGIF.
TGIF. We've got the gorgeous Natacha Alito with us in studio. Doesn't understand why Ami and I are so happy. It's because you're here.
Good morning. I'm also happy
exactly,
because you are here.
Because we're happy.
Thanks to you.
Amen. July 24th, 2015. And Netta, we did not sit together for quite a while, you and I think. But you did a fabulous job with women's football. I'm going to call it football in Canada. Exactly. But you're freshly back with the environmental roundup.
Very exciting, the tournament.
It looked that way. It really looked. And you don't know, but Netta is a fierce football player.
Well, I followed the
reporting
and
the editor.
Exactly.
Yes, you're welcome to join us every Wednesday.
But on the spot, yes.
Let's talk about environment. Something green, but not the field.
But not the field. Nice one. Yes.
So Greenpeace, many things. It's been a while since we've talked about Greenpeace.
I know.
Yes.
I know.
So we are mentioning two things: 20 years for Greenpeace Israel, which is a really good time, and they're a good, they are fierce, as you said, NGO in Israel, and now they have this solar energy campaign that is all over the country, and they're really getting bigger and bigger, and they have more money and more
to replace some. I'm wondering. I think that in places in the Middle East, such as Abu Dhabi, it actually has caught on very much.
Yeah, it's like the most logical thing you can do in the desert.
You mentioned it makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah. Why would countries do something that makes sense?
No.
Yeah. And they have many business people that are, joining them in the call and in the change, and maybe from the business sphere it will come.
Optimistic.
The change. And also there's 30 years to the sunken ship Rainbow Warrior of. Do you remember it? No. It
was Rainbow Warrior. I think so.
It was like the thing that made Greenpeace what they are. It was 7 years after they've been founded, and no one talked about them. No one knew about this, strange tree-hugging people. And then all of a sudden, France bombed a ship of Greenpeace on New Zealand territory, water territory, and it was a whole diplomacy.
And they bombed it. Why? Because they were
protesting against nuclear, but it was peaceful protester. Yeah. And the defense minister of France had to resign. 2 people were arrested and were put in jail. 2 French people. So this is the thing that made Greenpeace what they are today. And it's 30 years now.
It's sad that people need to be bombarded in order to make them.
And there's also a new film, The Arctic, about the Arctic 30, called. Maybe we can see the trailer.
Yes, we have a trailer. Let's
see.
Watch.
It's called Black Ice, and it's very interesting.
Lumnia is the first Arctic offshore oil platform to go into production.
These very same companies that are promising to drill responsibly offshore are the same companies working onshore, and they have a horrible track record.
Yes. The Arctic, so called the Arctic, coming out when?
This was last year. Right. You remember that 30 of them were arrested by Russian
No, you were here actually.
Police.
I remember you were here several times in the studio when the Russians decided to take on Greenpeace as if it was World War III.
Yeah. So this is another diplomatic crisis thanks to Greenpeace. We all love it. We have something to talk about. And they are all, of course, released after 2 months in jail. But this is 50 minutes that are like breathtaking. You're really looking at it.
So it's the whole story of what happened, etc.
And like footage from inside, and you really see the soldier like arresting the guys.
Peacefully protesting people with rainbows who want to protect the environment. It's very dangerous, very, very dangerous. Yes.
And we are going to the Galapagos. The first solar and wind energy controlled airport is opened. It's really the only one in the world. No oil whatsoever, only solar panels and 3 wind turbines, and it's in the Galapagos, what is amazing that it used to be an army base, like an army air force of the Americans in World War II, because they were afraid of the Japanese people, so they put this airport there, and slight...
not surprising. Slight change.
Yeah.
Beautiful thing, and I want to say, you don't know this, but Netta is sitting here with so much optimistic news, I don't know what happened to her.
Really? Something happened, right?
No, because usually it's like they're killing animals here, they're destroying the planet there,
so
and this is like a party. Okay, yes.
Another optimistic is the bears sanctuary in Romania. Yeah, there are 80 bears. It's the biggest in the world. They are actually coming there from, they have been for entertainment. Before that, in closed clay cages, circuses, also restaurants and hotels and everywhere. And then they come
use bears in restaurants and hotels.
Yeah, they just put them in small cages to entertain the.
Oh my God, that's horrible.
What is okay?
And this is their like retirement home, and they are happy there. And some of them are, of course, depressed, and they have problems
because their life was horrible.
Yeah, but this is their place to retire.
No,
look at the cubs.
And the little cubs is another place next to it that actually makes them ready for to go back to nature.
To go back to nature. It's not like we're going to take them back to the restaurants.
No,
it's not that. Okay. But okay.
No. So they're going back to nature. Romania is the biggest place of bears. Like there are the most bears in the world there, and they actually took.
It's optimistic.
They have the most bears in the wild.
Yeah, and they took action to save them. They are since 2012. They're really.
It's actually an effort. So, and
let's go to Beirut, our neighbors, and see an interesting thing that is going on there.
Okay, that's a big hint. A report from Lebanon, environmental. Let's take a look.
This is the entrance to Beirut's largest park, known as Horsh Beirut. But visitors find only a locked gate with signs, rules, and restrictions. One example, people under the age of 30 are not allowed inside without special authorization. A galling situation for these protesters. They want the park, which accounts for 2/3 of the Lebanese capital's limited green space, to be reopened to the public.
I can see Lebanese people inside, but I can't go in myself to relax or read a book. So they're kind of filtering the people who have the right to enter the park. This is a public place. No one has the right to own it exclusively, neither a municipality or a company or anybody. It's my natural right to go inside.
Beirut's green spaces have largely fallen victim to rampant development since the end of the civil war in 1990. Now, around half of Lebanon's 4 million residents live in the capital's concrete jungle and suburb, and anger is mounting over who is allowed into the precious parkland that remains.
We have discovered that many foreigners are able to enter Horsh Beirut, but not Lebanese people. We have recorded evidence of this, which we have uploaded online.
The Beirut municipality is so far not giving in to demands. It says the park is not yet equipped to receive a large number of visitors, with no toilets or bike lanes. But tender bids should be launched this summer to contract a private company for help.
Before I can call on this private company that will ensure daily management, maintenance and general order, I can't open the park to everyone on a random basis.
Local activists disagree. They say the municipality has the budget to manage the park itself and keep it clean. The forest lies on the line that divided Beirut during the war, and it still separates Christian and Muslim neighborhoods. A tense location which also explains its restricted opening in a city that is growing increasingly congested and polluted.
So the reason I chose this article is because, as you see, public space, environment, these are the buzzwords of the decade. It reminded me of Gezi Park in Turkey, which started a whole revolution. So, you know, environment is not just, you know, tree huggers, and it's not really just the thing of young people all over the world. We want our public spaces back, you know, for us, and it could really...
And for them to survive. And for them to survive.
Start the revolution.
And, you know, one would hope that actually maybe over the course of the last 2 decades, and I think you might agree, you know, Greenpeace, environment is not just a trend anymore. It's actually, it's becoming a major part of policies and discussion. Not enough, but hopefully soon. Netta, I'm locking you in studio, because it's the time to move to the man, the bow tie.
With the bow tie.
The bow tie, I know, that has become a trademark for Ami Kaufman.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow, that's a great...
I
thank
know.
you very much. What an intro.
The viral spiral that is the web review.
Okay, get me a spaceship, because I want to get out of here. NASA had a press conference yesterday. They don't usually hold press conferences when they find these new findings, but this one is a new Earth-sized planet that is orbiting a sun-like star just like ours. And it's about 60% bigger than Earth is. It's about 1,400 light years away. Pretty far, but it looks like there's a chance that it looks like Earth. Those are the images.
Exactly.
It's a good question.
And with Netta, I would think that, you know, when we destroy this planet completely,
we have
another one to go over and demolish. But it's
that's pretty exciting.
It's beyond exciting. It makes you think that, you know, because it's 1,000 light years away,
1,400 light years away.
We just need somebody to invent that spaceship that breaks.
Or one of those rich tycoons that want to go to Richard Branson.
No, but there is hope for us all.
Yeah, I'm ready to go. I don't know.
I'm packed. Yes.
What website do we love? We love TMZ. Is that we love TMZ? Look at this headline about Mariah Carey. I just love the way they put it with the picture of Mariah and about her upcoming concert in the Holy Land, which is going to be in Rishon LeZion, right next to us, in August. I don't know. I'm kind of interested in going, but it's just going to be so hot in August to see Mariah Carey.
Hot, and dare I say, and I'm going to be knocked down by, isn't Mariah Carey ever so 1997?
She is.
A little bit, right?
Yeah. This is what we get in Israel.
This is what we get in Israel. I mean, who came here? Robbie Williams. I went there. It was great, but still.
Yeah. We were there. She's going to make $500,000 from this, according to TMZ.
$500,000?
Yeah.
From
$500,000.
$500,000. $500,000. That's kind of what we're paid for one show.
And who's going? It's not for teenagers.
Exactly.
Because they don't know her.
Bingo. They're banking on us, folks.
No.
They're banking on us.
Are we going?
So
Are we going?
Are we going? We might.
You should learn less.
Yeah. So, yes.
We've been talking about, you know, the Daily Show is going to end in, I think, less than 2 weeks, actually.
In less than 2 weeks.
And if you remember Trevor Noah, when he came out, everybody started looking at his old tweets. Yeah. And he had some racist tweets, chauvinistic tweets, some about anti-Semitic tweets. So he had an interview with GQ, and he said that those tweets were stupid. He was an idiot.
Wow.
He says, you show me half of my jokes from even 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I hate them. Because you see, I was a younger version of myself. And I was like, why would you say that? You idiot. That makes no sense. So he's kind of trying I guess it's not would you call that an apology?
I wouldn't call it an apology. I'd call it, it's kind of lame because it's like he's saying, yes, I was a racist.
Yeah.
And yes, I was an anti-Semite. Yeah. I'm a bit of an idiot, but do watch me. Doesn't sound like a really good selling point to tune in. Wow.
I was young excuses.
Yeah.
We've heard it.
Yeah. No, but it is a bit reminiscent of I was only following the orders. No, I'm just saying. Ooh. Yes. I said that. Okay.
He was also asked about how he's going to change the show, and he's just going to give it like a facelift, kind of like what Jimmy Fallon did to the Tonight Show. Not, it's kind of the same thing, just a little different.
Just my shtick. I wonder if the Daily Show, it's another thing to watch, if the Daily Show will survive.
I'm wondering too. I'm really looking forward to it. Though.
Yeah, to see what will happen.
He's a funny guy. I've seen his stuff. He's really good.
Yeah, he was good on the Daily Show with Jon Stewart. But yes.
Cats, as we know, rule the internet, and there's going to be an exhibit that is going to open on my birthday on August 7th.
Now we know
and the exhibit is called
on August 7th. Yes.
It's called How Cats Took Over the Internet.
Yes.
And according to the press release, the exhibition will take a critical look at the phenomenon of cats online and how they have transfixed a generation of web users.
An in-depth expose.
Yeah, a critique,
Critique, yeah.
And in a screening room next door, there will be a continuous loop of significant cat videos. Significant cat videos.
Well, I think
I'm there.
Where you will see a lot of people standing like this.
Yes.
Doing that. Yes. Okay.
I really want to get tickets to that one. Okay, in New York, Nestle, the company Nestle, has this new creamer. It's called Natural Bliss, and they have this commercial out where they show baristas naked serving this cream.
We have to see this
commercial.
We have to see this.
Body painted though.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. All right.
Yeah.
What is this?
So we are the All Natural Bliss Cafe.
Natural.
Exactly. We are surprisingly natural, as is our creamer.
All natural.
So the creamer only has 4 ingredients: milk, cream, a touch of sugar, and natural flavor.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, they look a little shocked, don't they?
Yeah, no, it took me a second also, right? Because
it was such a good
body paint.
Really good.
No, it's really good body paint, and wow. I have a feeling
with the shoulders, like all the details.
All the details.
Yeah.
I do have a feeling that this is actually a great idea. And Ami and Netta, I'm telling you that next time we're on, we're going to be painting the clothes on us. I think this is actually a masterful idea for television.
Like the whole show, 2
hours?
Show.
Yes.
Let's go for it.
And I think, thank you. See, Netta's good. And the guests. Yes.
I'll think about it.
Think about it.
Think of rain check.
Like, I'm going to paint the little bow tie.
Just come with the bow tie. Or the paint on the bow tie.
Okay. Yes.
Enough of that.
Moving on.
Moving on. This is a really popular Instagram account by a guy named Stephen McMenemy. I hope I pronounced it right. He does combo photos. What I like about it is just a really simple idea. Take 2 photos, and splice them together and combine them. But he does it so well, and it comes out like really these interesting combinations. You can see the splice line where he does it. Let's see a few of these photos.
Yeah, remove that.
Keep moving.
Nice.
Can you see the line? Take a look at the line.
Just like cigarettes.
Yeah.
And they've got messages. I can see the line, but it's very nice. Okay, guns bad. Nice, yes.
Nice stuff.
Okay, good stuff. Oh, yes, I know that.
Is that force feeding? Or
that's force feeding.
That's what I've done to my kids.
That's entirely force feeding. Oh, and he went to the barista bar where they're selling him.
Is that a peach? I don't know.
Yeah, what is that?
That's a sundae.
No, but it's nicely done.
He really does it well, right? He does it.
Yeah, I think that would be it for us. Sadly, all the time.
I'm fine with that.
No cat videos.
No, exactly. No cat videos.
No, we're going to New York to see the cat videos.
This would be it for us, folks. Do stay with us now. Coming up, the best of the week that was on the Morning Edition. Stay with us. It's all of the segments that you might have missed, and of course now the news. And tune in Monday morning to start your day with the Morning Edition. Have a wonderful weekend.